Hi grade 9s, it's Miss Longraj here. Today I'm going to do my second video on adding and subtracting polynomials. I heard from many of you yesterday saying that the adding and subtracting video from yesterday was a bit confusing. So today I'm going to do a second one on the same topic. So this would be video 3, part B. I want to remind you where to find assignment number 3. If you go to Google Classroom, under classwork, you'll find assignment 3 right there. And your job is to click on that link and you will get to a chart. And in the chart, there is a spot for every single video and every topic that we are going to learn about together. So we've already done topic 1 and topic 2. We are now on video 3 and we are, like I said, learning about adding and subtracting polynomials. So at the end of the video, in the blank space on the right-hand side, you will put your answers to the 2 questions right there. And that's what you'll submit to me at the end of the 2-week period. Now, let's look at an adding question first. To be truthful, no one seemed to have any problem with adding yesterday, but I thought that since we were reviewing subtracting, we should look at one adding question at the same time. So let's look at the question that's on the screen right now. So just like I said yesterday, if it's an adding question where you're adding 2 different polynomials, you can just ignore the brackets. So this would be 12x squared minus 6x minus 5 plus negative 4x squared plus 7x minus 2. I want to put that together. I want to make it shorter. Right now it has 6 terms. I want it to only have 3 terms. So what I need to do is I need to circle each term, each part of this question, and remember you're going to circle it with the sign that is in front of it. So I'm circling this, and then where is the other part with the x squared that goes together? Oh, here. And that one has 2 signs in front, so when you circle 2. And then we have the 6x, but it's not just 6x. We have to circle what's in front of it. It's minus 6x, and here we have plus 7x. Those 2 go together. And then lastly, we don't just have 5. This is why the circling method really helps. I have minus 5, and over here I have minus 2. Now we're going to group the circles, the squares, and the hearts together. I'm just getting a different color marker. Okay, so I've got 12x squared plus negative 4x squared. I've got negative 6x plus 7x. And I've got negative 5, subtract 2. Now, let's remember, if it is at the front, this is at the front, and this is at the front, rather than in the middle, then this means negative. You have to figure out which button that is on your calculator. So I want to go negative 6 plus 7. Negative 6 plus 7 would give you 1. Don't forget to put the x because there's an x there. And because it's just 1, we put a plus. Okay? Here we have negative 5, and this one's in the middle, so this is subtract. You want to use the button that's like this. So negative 5 subtract 2, that would give you negative 7. And then over here, it's kind of funny. We have 12 plus negative 4. So this right here would be a negative. So we have 12 plus negative 4. That would give me 8x squareds. So I want to put this all together. So it's 8x squared plus 1x minus 7. You might see it just written like this, 8x squared plus x minus 7. You don't need to write down the 1 if it's 1x. You can just write down x. Okay, so that's adding. But like I said, I don't think many of you have problems with adding. So let's next look at subtracting. And since subtracting is a bit more tricky, we will try 3 of them together in this video, and then you'll see that I'm going to leave you 2 to try on your own. So let's start with that first one that says 7x squared plus 5x minus 4, subtract negative 3x squared plus 5. We'll start with that, and just like yesterday, we'll use the stacking method where I put them on top of each other. Okay, so when you are subtracting, I suggest to stack them. So we need to put the subtracting sign over here, and we want to subtract negative 3x squared plus 5. And notice there is no x part in the middle. Okay, what I want you to remember is that this subtraction sign is for both of the parts. So I need to subtract negative 3 and I need to subtract plus 5. I'm not just subtracting this part, I'm subtracting both of the things. So when I do this, I need to go 7, subtract negative 3. 5, subtract nothing. Negative 4, subtract 5. Don't forget that in front of the 4, there's a negative. I can't forget about that. So let's do it. 7, subtract negative 3. That would give me 10x squareds. Here I have 5x. Subtract nothing. So I just get 5x. And then I have negative 4. Subtract 5. Remember, the one in the front would be the negative. And the one that's in the middle, this is a subtraction. So if you're using your calculator, you need to use 2 different buttons. Some of us can do integers in our head. Negative 4 subtract 5, that would give you negative 9. Now the only thing you need to remember is you need to put it together at the end. So I have 10x squared, 5x, and since that's a plus 5, I put a plus 5 there, and then minus 9. So that's the first one. Let's try the next one together. Okay, so here was question number 2. Again, it's subtracting, so we want to use stacking. So I'm going to put the minus here. The negative 3x squared. Now this is a bit tricky because the negative 3x squared doesn't go here. It goes over here with the 5x squared. So I have negative 3x squared. And then I have plus 5. The plus 5 doesn't go here. It goes here. And here, up here, there were no numbers with no x's, so this would have been 0 up here. Okay, that was a little tricky. Let's see. We need to move our subtraction throughout the question because we're not just subtracting one thing, we're subtracting everything. So I have 2x cubed minus nothing. I'm not taking anything away from that. That would give me 2x cubed. Then I have 5x squared, subtract negative 3x squared. 5 subtract negative 3. That would give me a plus 8x squared. Then I have minus 4x, subtract nothing, so minus 4x. And then this is the part that's tricky. You don't just add a 5 here. Up here you had nothing. If you go 0, subtract 5, that's going to give you negative 5. 0, subtract 5. You had to add that extra 0 up here because here we had a term or a part with no x's, so I needed a part with no x's up here as well. So this would be my final answer. Okay, one more that we're going to do together, and then I'll leave you on your own to try 2 more questions that you can add to your assignment. If you want me to check them before the end of the 2-week period though, feel free to send them to me anytime and I can check them. Okay, so this is our last question, and this is definitely the most tricky one we've looked at so far. I want you to notice that here I've got negative 2x cubed, a negative x, a negative 5. Here I've got 5x cubed, I've got a minus 6x squared, and I've got a minus 2. I want you to notice that here, that means I've got a cubed part. Remember, a cube just means that I got negative 2 cubes, but I've got no squares. So let's remind ourselves that we have no squares. I have minus 1x and minus 5. And over here, I'm subtracting 5x cubes minus 6x squareds. I've got no x's this time, minus 2. Sometimes adding the parts you don't have make it a lot simpler. Now let's use our stacking method. So we're going to put subtraction over here so we remember that we need to subtract. I'm going to put the second polynomial over here, 5x cubed minus 6x squared plus 0x minus 2. And I need to subtract each part. By writing it down, I'm less likely to make a silly mistake and forget. So that means I need to do negative 2, subtract 5. And I need to do 0, subtract negative 6. And I need to do negative 1, subtract 0. And I need to do negative 5, subtract negative 2. And the best part is you're allowed to use a calculator. So even if integers or negative numbers is not your best topic, you can still get the right answer. So negative 2 subtract 5 would give you negative 7x cubed. And then 0 subtract negative 6 would give you 6x squared. And your calculator is just going to say 6, but that means plus 6. And then negative 1 subtract 0 gives you negative 1x. And then negative 5 subtract negative 2 is going to give you negative 3. And that is the answer to a very tricky question. So what I want you to do is try these next 2 questions and share them with me so I can let you know if you're on the right track.